Antonin Scalia pretends to be this high-minded guy who cares about judicial philosophy and integrity. It's absolute nonsense. Even when I was in law school and a conservative, and in a lot of ways I'm still judicially conservative, which is different than being politically conservative. It means you stick to the Constitution and you stick to your principles. I was reading the case and I was like, Scalia, well, that's weird, because I wanted to admire him. He's conservative, I was conservative, right? But I kept reading one opinion after another that contradicted it. I'm like, wait, he's for states' rights here, and then he's against states' rights here. Why is he doing that? And now in the healthcare law, when Bush was in charge, he had an expansive view of the Commerce Clause. The federal government can do anything it wants. It's George Bush, it's my buddy. I go duck hunting with Dick Cheney. Of course I'm going to agree with everything he says. Now President Obama's in charge. The Commerce Clause is very restrictive. I don't know. I think that, and now they're thinking of doing something unprecedented since 1937 and saying the Commerce Clause does not apply to this law in Congress, which is against everything else Scalia has decided. And he doesn't give a damn. You think he cares about judicial philosophy? If you read his opinions, you realize what an unbelievable fraud Antonin Scalia is. All he cares is, what does my Republican buddies say? Well, I'm on that side. Judicial ideology, who gives a damn? Now, I think Progress has done a great job of pointing this out, because he's within the Supreme Court. During oral arguments, he's using Republican talking points, including the Cornhusker kickback, which Rush Limbaugh started talking about. The Cornhusker kickback isn't even in the law. They took it out. But this dummy doesn't even realize it. So here he is parroting the talking points. A brilliant job. Watch this.
The consequence of your proposition, would Congress have enacted it without this provision? That would mean that if we struck down nothing in this legislation but the, what's it called, the Cornhusker kickback.
I believe that the Cornhusker kickback will rank up there with the bridge to nowhere.
From Louisiana Purchase to the Cornhusker kickback.
The Cornhusker kickback, the Louisiana Purchase.
The Louisiana Purchase, the Cornhusker kickback.
Cornhusker kickback.
Cornhusker kickback.
Cornhusker kickback.
It's clear that Congress would not have passed it without that. It was the means of getting the last necessary vote in the Senate. Whatever the states have chosen not to do, the federal government can do.
No, not at all.
I mean, the 10th Amendment says the powers not given to the federal government are reserved not just to the states, but to the states and the people.
This is the first time in the 225-year history of our country that we have forced you as a constituent, any of our constituents, to buy a product. And a lot of constitutional lawyers are saying it is unconstitutional, or at least a violation of the 10th Amendment.
I would do a number of things. One is to return to the states the responsibility for caring for their own uninsured in the way they think best. That's consistent with the Constitution, with the 10th Amendment.
We need to enforce the 10th Amendment. Very simple. Washington's too big. Washington's too powerful.
You really want us to go through these 2,700 pages? Is this not totally unrealistic?
It's a bill that's 2,700 pages long.
These are the 2,700 pages of the bill that apparently nobody's read.
This bill is 2,700 pages. 2,700 page bill.
Could you define the market? Everybody has to buy food sooner or later. So you define the market as food. Therefore, everybody's in the market. Therefore, you can make people buy broccoli.
Can Congress make you wear a hat in the sun? Can it make you eat broccoli at dinner? A hat, broccoli at dinner?
If they can force us to buy health insurance, they can force us to buy broccoli.
Oh, how devastating is that? All this idiot Scalia does is listen to Rush Limbaugh on Fox News. He didn't even check the law. He said in the Supreme Court oral arguments, it's clear they couldn't have passed this without the Cornhusker kickback. It wasn't even in the law. So it's clear that they actually did pass it without it being in there. But he doesn't care what's in the law. He said in another portion of the arguments, I'm not going to read this 2,700 pages. Who's going to read all this stuff? No, I'm going to vote like the moron that I am. What did my buddy Dick Cheney and Rush Limbaugh and Fox News and Sean Hannity tell me to do? Okay, well, that's what I'm going to do. And this is the guy that the conservatives put forward as a genius? As a genius. Maybe a conservative version of a genius, which is one that isn't very bright at all and doesn't know a thing about the facts and has never been consistent on the law, on judicial philosophy, and has no judicial integrity. He is a political hack of the highest order.